to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the sea to the river.
From the sea to the river.
Palestine forever.
Palestine forever. Okay, guys, we're going to start with the program. First, we have Vuyo with the prayer from JOCOD.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is time to pray. Most gracious and merciful God, you alone we worship and ask for help. Today we ask for blessing and guidance. We pray that you'll guide our steps in the right path and give us favor according to your will. Help us to do what's right and care for each other. Amen.
Thank you, Vuyo. Then we have JOCOD's choir for the national anthem.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakamisa uphondo lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela sina lusapho lwayo murena buluke sitshaba sa Yesu uferitse lintshali matswele usibuluke sitshaba sa Yesu sitshaba sa South Africa South Africa 80 blow van ons hemel 80 diepte van ons oros gebeurtes in die grens en antwoord sound a call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us love and strike from freedom in South Africa.
You want to sing? Okay, you can sing just now, right? Thank you, choir. Next, we have JOCOD speaker, Mr. Ibrahim Kuvadia.
Thank you. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon all of you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for being here today. We stand united here today with one purpose: to demand justice, to demand accountability, and to demand an end to the atrocities being committed against the most vulnerable members of society. The people living with disabilities, women and children in Gaza. This protest is not about a distant conflict. It's about the human lives that are being torn apart, the innocent victims who have been denied their most basic rights and dignity. It is about those whose lives have been forever altered by violence. And it is about the countless stories that have been buried, ignored, or forgotten. At JOCOD, we are deeply disturbed by the ongoing genocide in Gaza, especially the targeting of people with disabilities. As an organization that stands for the rights of people with disabilities in South Africa, we cannot remain silent in the face of such blatant violations of human rights. What is happening in Gaza is a clear violation of international law, war crimes and crimes against humanity backed and funded by the United States. The violence is devastating. More civilians, especially children and people with disabilities, are being killed or maimed. This targeting of the most vulnerable must stop. It must stop. We are here today to call out to the US Embassy because United States has played a direct role in enabling those atrocities. By funding and shielding Israel from accountability, the United States is complicit in the suffering of innocent civilians in Gaza. This must end now. We are also here because we cannot forget the tragic story of Mohammed Bar, a 24-year-old Palestinian with Down syndrome, who was attacked and left to die by the Israeli forces. His death is just one example of the horrors faced by people living with disabilities in Gaza, and he will not let this death go in vain. We call on the United States to hold Israel accountable, to stop enabling this violence, and to stop funding war crimes. The suffering in Gaza has crossed the threshold of tolerance, and we will not rest until justice is served. Thank you for being here today. Your presence shows the world that we will not stay silent in the face of injustice. Together, we can demand change. Jazakumullah.
Thank you, Mr. Kuvadia. Now we have a poem from JOCOD beneficiary, Apiwe. Kill it, Michael.
Good day, everyone. Echoes of silence in lands where olive branches weep, where homes and dreams sink far too deep. Innocent hearts beat steady and slow, under shadows cast by sorrow's glow. War's cold hands reach through the night, taking limbs, stealing sight. Minds once free, now chained in pain. As innocence lost, what remains? The world must hand its head away, but we, the silence, will still stay. In strength, in tears, our spirits rise, seeking peace beneath wearing skies. Thank you.
Thank you, Apiwe. Now we have healthcare workers for Palestine, Dr. Fatima Bibi Abu.
Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to confront a humanitarian catastrophe that's unfolding before our eyes. The genocide in Gaza. It has shattered lives of many, especially those that are disabled, and it demands our immediate attention and unwavering compassion. The recent escalation has already plunged a dire situation into deeper despair, causing significant physical, psychological, and economic repercussions. As of October 2022, individuals with disabilities have surged up to 68,000. This represents 2.6% of the population of Gaza. at least 22,500 people have sustained life-altering injuries that will require long-term rehabilitation. The Palestinian Ministry of Health has reported over 12,000 children that are injured. That amounts to 70 children every single day. One child every 10 minutes is either injured or killed in Gaza. And these numbers are just an underestimate because not everything is reported and it's not always specified whether it's a child that's been injured or killed. With the new weaponry on board, there's been a huge rise in limb amputations, spinal cord injuries, and traumatic brain injuries, as well as severe burns. The healthcare system in Gaza, already strained by decades of blockades and intermittent wars, is overwhelmed. Hospitals lack supplies, and the destruction to infrastructure has made it impossible to provide adequate care to a growingly disabled community. Psychologically, the toll is immense. The constant threat of violence, the displacement, the loss has spread widespread trauma. People suffer with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, especially those that are disabled. The lack of mental health care exacerbates the issues, leaving those that desperately need it without the support. The economy has also been crippled. With this destruction that's so vast, there's been severe decline in the economy, and unemployment has soared. There's about 80% of the population now that's unemployed, and those that are employed and are able to work are now required to support those that are disabled. The destruction and decline will take decades to reverse. The health and well-being of our people will continue to suffer without international intervention and support. Psychological scars left due to this genocide will affect all the generations to come, hindering the ability to thrive and rebuild. As South Africans, we must draw parallels to our own history of apartheid to those of the people suffering in Gaza, especially the disabled individuals. In South Africa, like though they suffered in Gaza, they suffer against discrimination, lack of access to health care, and social isolation. The child in Gaza is the child in Nyanga, is the child in Sharpeville. To truly grasp the depth of this devastation, we must listen to the story of those that are on the field. From the day the war broke out, they destroyed what was inside of us. They took everything that helped me to live. My devices, my boot, my wheelchair. How can I go back to how I was without all of this? This is from Ghazal, a 14-year-old girl with cerebral palsy in Gaza. One of MFS surgeons told me about all the babies whose wounds they had to dress. Babies who had lost their legs. It stayed with him. Babies who have never learned to walk, never will. Since this war, the children now have a new acronym on their files, WCNSF. That stands for Wounded Child, No Surviving Family. This is from Maria Ree from the MSF, an emergency coordinator. When we say there is no safe place in Gaza, we're not just talking about the shelling. There's no safe place, not even in people's minds. This is from Amparo Velasmili, an MSF psychologist. The dog sank his fangs into his chest and then his shoulders. I saw a fountain of blood coming out as he helplessly pushed the dog away, crying, "My dear, enough. Please stop." This is a narration by Nabila Bahar, the mother of Muhammad Bahar, who was a disabled child that she had found lying decomposed after being mauled by the IDF's combat dogs. My people, we are compelled to bear witness to these atrocities and raise our voices for those who cannot advocate for themselves. We need to advocate for a ceasefire to ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid and support the organizations to rebuild and rehabilitate the region. Every day that passes without intervention is another day of suffering for the people in Gaza. We must stand in solidarity and work towards a future where every single individual, regardless of their circumstances, can live with dignity and with hope. I urge each and every one of you here to raise your voice, demand a ceasefire, contact your representatives, and support organizations that are helping send aid through to Gaza. Together, we can make a difference. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah so much.
Jazakallah for that. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Okay, now we have Jerry who's going to play the piano for us. Thank you, Jerry. Now we have the Palestinian song by the Palestinian sisters Hur and Noor.
جينا نعيدكم بالعيد بنسألكم ليش ما في عنا الأعياد ولا زينة يا عالم أرضي محروقة أرضي حرية مسروقة أرضي صغيرة
translate for us in English.
The theme of the song is basically about bringing back peace to the children of Palestine and to liberate Palestine, the homeland, for the Palestinian and the children also. And yeah, that's mainly about peace and children living in peace in their homeland and bringing back their childhood. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, girls. That was so beautiful. Now we have a speech by Sajida Ismail, an occupational therapist from Tiba.
Good afternoon, everyone. Imagine going to sleep and waking up with no legs. Imagine feeling flames burn around you, but not knowing how you ended up there because you could not hear the bombs. Imagine scrambling for help, trying desperately to locate your family. Must I use it? Among dozens doing the same, except you don't have the sight to guide you. Imagine being engulfed in a crumbling building but lacking the mobility to evacuate. This horror is the reality for Palestinians with disabilities. Israel's genocide on Gaza has undeniably wreaked havoc through its entire population, with displacement and destruction as the order of the day. For societies most vulnerable, the ones who live with disability, this is drastically worse. Before the 7th of October 2023, 98,000 children lived with disability in Gaza. Since then, the war crimes created tens of thousands more. This year, the UN has found that people with disabilities in Gaza fear that they will be killed first. As the onslaught on Gaza persists, more and more Palestinians find themselves as part of this demographic, disabled, desperate, and destined for doom. Once displaced from their bombarded homes, with no hospitals or schools to go to, life in overcrowded refugee camps is painfully unenduring. No privacy, lack of rehabilitation and medication, reduced access to basic necessities, and poor living conditions have resulted in the most drastic conditions for those living with disabilities. The psychological trauma, in addition to the presenting challenges of being unable to hear, see, walk, or mentally comprehend what is happening around them, makes it unfathomable for both people with disabilities and their families. For Amir with autism, Muhammad with Down syndrome, Khalid with cerebral palsy, and Hind with hearing impairment. For Layla, who lost her limbs, we at Tiba Services for the Blind bleed. Our sweat, blood, tears, and prayers are with the people of Palestine. We implore an end to the genocide. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. Palestine forever. Down with the enablers of genocide. Down. Down with the enablers of genocide. Down. Down with the enablers of genocide. Down.
Thank you. Now we have just board member Hussein Bismillah to give a few words.
Thank you so much. Hello, baby. Oh, thank you. I don't have to.
Now you can speak on the mic.
Oh, keep in mind as well. Good day, one and all. it is with such sadness that I stand here representing the Johannesburg Institute of Social Services, who are in support of JOCOD, i.e. the Johannesburg Council for the Disabled, in this protest initiative on the ongoing genocide taking place in Palestine. Just why I should just mention is an organization that has been around for 80 years, and we've been doing good work over the years in the Lenasia, in the south of Lenasia, also in the Mayfair area. It is beyond belief the callousness of the Israeli leaders to act so savagely and disproportionately against the inhabitants of Gaza, killing and maiming women and children, not to mention the elderly, the sickly, the physically challenged. The destruction of infrastructure and the way of life is beyond belief. It's beyond belief. Accordingly, we support JOCOD's demand, which we reiterate as follows. 1. Unequivocal condemn the Israeli state deliberate action against the civilian population and the people of Gaza with disabilities. That the US pressure the Israeli state to immediately lift the blockade on Gaza so that the sources of such as food and medication as well as critical services are delivered to the Palestinians. 3, work in conjunction with the United Nations and other organizations to effectively address the safety measures for the civilian and people with disabilities. 2, with immediate effect, stop all forms of aid to the Israeli state so that no further military activities take place on an already devastated population. Finally, we support the call of the international community for a permanent settlement of the conflict in Palestine. Which is Johannesburg Institute of Social Services, cares and remains committed to championing the rights of women, children, and families as the building blocks of society. Thank you all for coming and showing support for the Palestinian people, which is the least we can do, and does show that we do, in fact, care. In fact, this is poster here. It says there, it could have been me. That's it. It could have been me. That's what's so sad. How can one be happy at a time like this when so many people are dying and getting maimed? For the last 2 years, I've hardly been happy at all. You know, our people, our compassion go out to the people of Gaza. We trust that things will come to an end shortly. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay. Tiba learners are going to sing a song for us.
I was a grapevine in Palestine where I lived with a family on a farm. So many years of nurture and love we received from the keepers of the farm. I was a grapevine in Palestine where I lived with a family on a farm. Every day before dawn, the roosters would go before Fajr Salah was performed. Then labor and soil in the field, so we see we were one as the land transformed. I was a grapevine in Palestine where I lived with a family on a farm. They came, I will never forget when they pulled our roots from the soil. They slashed every vine and they chopped every tree, every chicken inside they killed. I was a grapevine in Palestine and I have a story to tell. Hammers washed in vain, filled with tears and pain as the bullets went flying in. Oh, what a price to pay for the slain.
Okay, now we have a speech by Ms. Firdaus Bulbulia.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Salam, which means peace. I would like to greet you in the name of peace, and I'd like all the children to come and stand with me. So all the children, please join me. I am the chairperson of the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa and the director of the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. So if there are children who want to join me, please join me. Thank you. I am also speaking on behalf of my brother Zain Bulbulia, who couldn't make it today. He's from the Premier's Office on Disability and Women and Youth Rights. But as the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa, we are concerned that our sector has not come out as they should, and that globally we need to be looking at the issues of children's rights, children's media rights. And we say, as the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, although our work is about storytelling, the storytelling goes beyond the screen. The storytelling is amongst us, all of us. Please come join me. Come. Bear with us as we bring all the children, because it is about the children. Please come forward. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Did you want to say anything? You're just going to stand with me? Okay, I'm just checking that they don't want to say. Yes, please, come join us. Come, come. I think we need to take the time and we need to understand what it is about bringing children into the space and making sure that they are heard. And as we talk about not maiming our children, as we talk about disability and ensuring that disability is part of the conversation, we need to be sure to see the people we are talking about and that they are not hidden somewhere behind all of us as we stand with our placards and our flags. It's important for us to know that this is the community that we are dealing with. So I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, friends, and fellow advocates for justice. I stand before you today with deep humility and a profound sense of responsibility as the director of the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival and the chairperson of the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa. It is indeed an honor to join you in this important march where we unite our voices, our actions, and our hearts, and we stand in solidarity with two causes that cannot be ignored: the Johannesburg Council for the Disabled and the Palestine Solidarity Movement. As the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, we believe in the power of storytelling to educate, to inspire, and to drive change. But storytelling is not confined to the screen. It extends to the stories we live, the actions we take, and the collective efforts we change. Today we march not just for awareness, but for human rights, justice, and the future of every child, whether they are fighting for the right to live in dignity in Gaza or striving for an equal society in South Africa. The Johannesburg Council for the Disabled has tirelessly worked to ensure that individuals with disabilities are not left behind. They have provided vital services, raised awareness, and pushed for policy change. But we know that the work is far from over. The fight for dignity and inclusion is ongoing. And as we march today, we send a message that people with disabilities must be seen, heard, and supported in all aspects of life, in all corners of society. As we advocate for the rights of children and youth, we must ensure that no one is excluded, that we build a society where everyone can thrive, where every child has access to education, healthcare, and the opportunity to live a life from discrimination. Equally important, we stand today in solidarity with the Palestine Solidarity Movement and all those who are working to end the suffering of children in Palestine, of women and families. We cannot remain silent in the face of the ongoing violence and atrocities that have been visited upon the Palestinian people, especially the children of Gaza. For years, we have witnessed the devastating impact of war on children. The images are heartbreaking. Children trapped in rubble, families torn apart. How can we forget soul of my soul? Families torn apart, young lives lost to violence. And I have here something that says, we are breaking that silence. You want to help me? You want to hold that for me? Thank you, my darling. These children, like all children, deserve to peace, security, and a future free from fear. Yet, instead, they face the trauma of displacement, loss, and an uncertain future. At the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, we believe that children's rights to life, to education, to safety should never be negotiable. It is for this reason that we stand alongside the Palestine Solidarity Movement today. We call for an end to the maiming of children, the destruction of families, and the denial of basic human rights in Gaza. Mandela himself was a champion of peace, freedom, and justice. His legacy reminds us that we all have a role to play in ensuring the rights of children. Whether in South Africa, Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan, DRC, we must raise our voices, push for action, and demand accountability. As we stand here today, we carry with us not just the weight of the current moment, but the hope of a better tomorrow. We carry with us the conviction that children deserve more than the violence they are subjected to, more than the oppression they face, more than the exclusion they experience. And we will not stop until justice is achieved for all children wherever they may be. This march is not simply an act of remembrance. It is a call to action. It is a pledge to continue advocating for the disabled and the oppressed, for the marginalized. It is a promise to amplify the voices of those who are suffering and to create a world where every child can grow up in safety, in dignity, and with opportunity. The Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival and the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa are committed to making this vision a reality. We promise to use the platform of film, media, and storytelling to highlight the issues that matter most. But we know that our work does not stop at the screen. It extends to the real world, to real people, and real lives. In closing, I want to thank every one of you for being here today. This march, this moment, is a powerful reminder that together we have the strength to change the world. Just as Mandela taught us, it always seems impossible until it's done. We call upon all the children's film festivals globally to take a stand against the genocide in Palestine and Lebanon, and to raise their voices as advocates of quality media and films for all children. Their silence is deafening and quite disappointing. Let us continue to fight for a world where children's rights are never violated, where disabled communities are fully integrated into society, and where peace and justice reign for all. We have the power to make it happen. Let's carry Mandela's legacy forward, and let's make the world a better place for all its children. Viva Palestine! Viva Palestine! Viva! You want to say, where's New?
Viva Palestine!
Viva Palestine! Anybody else? All you young people? Yes.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! To the river, to the sea! Palestine will be free! Free Palestine!
Well done. And you want to say something? Here you are.
Free Palestine!
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 From the river, from the sea.
From the river to 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 the sea. Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Okay, my darling. Thank you, young people. We do need to give the children their voice. Thank you.
Now we have Baker Amuji, who is going to highlight the importance of the memorandum.
Thank you, everyone. So, protocol allows that they won't accept the memorandum from us outside here. We will have to go inside to actually give the memorandum. However, we are going to go in with, who's coming with us? What's her name? Patience. And Tiba, your representative. 2 minutes. Tiba, your representative. So we're going to have some of our disabled handing over this memorandum. I'll just highlight the items on the memorandum where we demand an end to the violence against people living with disabilities in Gaza and any war-torn countries. It is well known that US is the biggest funder of weapons in every conflict that you see around the world. And that needs to stop. People are dying of hunger, yet they'll spend millions of dollars on weaponry. And that's what they call civilization, the new world order. Second, famine emergency. People are starving there. There's no food aid allowed. Yesterday I saw they're sending in people to actually steal the food trucks. That needs to stop. Palestinians held in Israeli jails without trial. That needs to stop. JOCOD demands that we call on the United States consulate to immediately stop all forms of aid to Israeli state so that no other further military activities take place on an already devastated population. Unequivocally, we condemn Israeli state's deliberate actions against the civilian and population living with disabilities in Gaza. We ask the US to pressure the Israeli state to immediately lift the blockade so that the vital sources of life, such as food, medication, as well as other critical services, are delivered to the Palestinians. Work in conjunction, we demand that you work in conjunction with the United Nations and other organizations to effectively address safety measures and civilians with disabilities. Can I hand over to our memorandum to our representatives who will present it to the consulate? Patient, can you roll that? Tiba? Okay. okay.
Listen to this gentleman, right? He's going to tell you what. Okay?
Come closer. Put your hand here. Put your hand there. Yeah. We will now enter the premises where we will hand over the memorandum. In the meantime, I ask Reverend Moss to take the chair. Yeah. Who's going to come with?
How about we put our hands together and clap as they go in to submit our memorandum. Because with that memorandum we affirm that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river, Palestine will be free. It's a lovely thing to be here together, comrades. As I was listening to the children singing, it reminded me of children in this country. You remember in 1976, children as young as 11 years of age were mercilessly mowed down by police bullets. The name of Hector Peterson will ring true to many of you. It's young people as young as that who affirmed that a non-racial South Africa will be possible. And today we are in a non-racial South Africa. And it is that which gives us confidence that apartheid in Israel will die. The reason we are here today is because there is a genocide going on as we speak. As Johannesburg goes about its daily business in this lovely Wednesday afternoon, we are here to remind everyone that there is a genocide going on as we speak. We are here to remind everyone that over 43,000 people have lost their lives ever since this genocidal project started. And it's not just a genocide of wiping out an entire population. It is destroying all institutions that make life possible. It is destroying the schools. It is destroying early childhood development centers. It is destroying universities. All this as a way of erasing the memory of Palestinian people. But we are here today to say Palestinians have survived thousands of years, and they will continue to survive even this episode. And we are here today to say that on this street of Leila Khalid, we have come to draw courage from that heroine of the struggle of the Palestinian people, that though she was a woman who most of society would say represents the weaker sex, but in Layla we see the courage of a lion. And we know that that courage is something we can embrace, all of us. As we stand here as the disabled people of Johannesburg, we may not have much strength in our bodies, but we have the strength of character. We have the strength of resolution. We have a strength of conviction that says Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. We stand here in front of this building that represents the world's superpower. It is, however, a superpower with zero moral power. It is a superpower that doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. It is a superpower that can select, and it has made its choice that genocide must continue. It is a superpower that has just elected one called Donald Trump, who has vowed that as President of the United States, he will make sure that Israel has all that it needs to finish the job. It is a superpower without any morality. But we stand here in our wheelchairs, in our various disabilities, in our frailties and weaknesses, to display the moral superpower that knows that evil never wins. We know that when dictatorships such as the Netanyahu regime become desperate in the way that they are, in the way that they kill children, in the way that they destroy libraries and all literature of the Palestinian people, that we know when dictators do that, it is a good sign that they are nearing the end of their reign. Apartheid was like that. In all the years of its life, in the middle of the 80s, the last decade of the apartheid regime saw the most desperate actions of that regime. But those who have a sense of history know that when a regime does that, it is a sure sign that it has come to the end of its life. And so we know that the regime in Israel is coming to the end of its life. And it will come to the end of its life because of the collective force of the peoples of the world, as they affirm that they too are Palestinians. As we boycott products that come out of Israel, as we support the BDS campaign, as we support measures to isolate that regime, as we starve it of oxygen, that regime will come to its end. And so we affirm with confidence that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river, Palestine will be free. And the reason we say that is because there is a God in the heavens who ensures that outcome. He's a God who makes sure and is the ultimate guarantor of justice in the world. Anyone who swears by injustice, anyone who perpetuates injustice, is on the losing side of history. And so we affirm that Palestinians will be free. As Nelson Mandela said, we'll know no freedom until Palestine is free. Thank you very much.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Now we have Rena King from the Jewish Voice of Peace.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Comrades, we can't stop watching. We have to watch as the genocide unfolds. We have to see what is happening, and we have to see the lies of Israel, the apartheid regime being buried under the rubble of Gaza. We have to see how America funds this genocide and continues to decimate Gaza and Lebanon. We have to watch, and we have to keep on demonstrating, and we have to keep on understanding that we have to object to the abuse of human rights, that America and Israel are trying to bury every human rights law under the rubble of Gaza, but we will not let it happen. They are trying to bury the Geneva Convention under the rubble of Gaza. We will not let it happen, because South Africa has taken Israel to the ICJ, and we can see that it's genocide. And as they say, silence is violence. Silence is complicity. Silence says that you are participating in this genocide. A genocide called by every genocide expert in the world. It is called a genocide. And we know that this is a genocide. And we see, and our hearts tear apart as we see people being disabled, maimed, killed, their lives being decimated, churches bombed, mosques bombed. Yesterday, 2 hospitals were bombed. How does any humanity actually accept this? Biden, you can't hide. Biden, you can't hide. You're committing genocide. And Biden will live with this for his legacy forever and ever. It must be scarred on his grave, on his life forever. That is what he has done. He has killed tens of thousands of people, maimed people, and really abused a system that is just genocidal and is unacceptable. And to express our rage, we also need to boycott Israel products. We need to go into shops where any Israel product is and point out to the shopkeeper that this is unacceptable, this is apartheid, this is genocide, this is supporting violence. We need to stop the coal going to Israel. We need to stop any investments in Israel. We need to disinvest and disempower Israel economically and make sure that everybody is aware. Do not stop watching. We need to be aware of what is happening all the time. And as Jews, we say, if you save one life, you save the world. We need a ceasefire now. Ceasefire now and stop the genocide. Without justice, there's no peace. We need justice in this world. And we need free, free Palestine. A free, free Palestine. Amandla.
Amanga.
Away to. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Louder! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Okay, guys, now we have Dean Harton from Camp and Toolshed.
Thank you. Who would you be under apartheid? Who would you be 30 years of another South African apartheid? It's time for artists to put our bodies and our careers on the line. We must make it impossible for Israel to operate with impunity and painful for Americans to continue supporting this genocide. We have not saved a single life. Nothing seems to be working. Small sacrifices are no longer enough. Artists must do the work of the failed media industry. We must finesse the messages and wield our cultural power to make the revolution irresistible. And making the revolution intersectional is a priority. Until all of us are free, none of us are free. As artists from Camp and our Toolshed, we're very grateful for the invitation to work with these extraordinary people who made this great banner, very powerful message. And we must take action in solidarity with all those maimed and murdered by US-made Israeli weapons and policies. Do you want to say something? I want you to say something. Do you want to say something?
Can I?
Yeah.
Greetings to you all. How you do? Justice and dignity for all. Justice and dignity for all. This story is for everyone who dreams of peace and freedom. I thank you. Man, come on, please.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Hey, I just want to say that I hate the thing that Israel is doing. Like, everybody should stand their ground. Palestine is busy suffering from the things they do not want to happen. So if you're with me, raise your fists into the air and say, death to Israel. Say it louder, death to Israel. Say free Palestine. Say free Palestine. I thank you all. This banner right beside us is our support, showing that we are against the genocide that Israel is doing. You see the olive branch, you see the olive tree, the olive branch, the olives. Everything is going to end, and God's judgment is coming for Israel.
Free, free Palestine! Okay, next we have Ibrahim Ayesh from Gift of the Givers.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has reached catastrophic levels. Over 53,000 Palestinians have been killed, including more than 17,000 children. Another 100,000 have been injured, most of them women and children. These are not just numbers. They represent families torn apart, communities destroyed, and a humanitarian disaster of unprecedented scale. What we are seeing in Gaza goes beyond the immediate violence. Israel has implemented a systematic strategy of obstructing humanitarian aid, effectively weaponizing starvation against the civilian population. The evidence of this deliberate strategy is overwhelming. Initially, only 50 to 60 trucks a day were allowed in, a small fraction of what is needed for over 2 million people. Inside Gaza, we have documented the deliberate destruction of aid warehouses, distribution centers, and essential infrastructure. As a result, parents are feeding their babies water mixed with starch instead of formula. Children are forced to eat animal food. Families are boiling weeds in seawater just to survive. Most alarming is the deliberate targeting of humanitarian workers and civilians seeking aid. Between January and March alone, 563 Palestinians were killed and over 1,500 injured while waiting for aid or in distribution centers. And today marks 1 year since the loss of head of the Gaza office, our head of the Gaza office, Ahmed Abbasi, who was killed along with his brother in an Israeli airstrike. His death wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern of targeting aid workers and civilians, including the killing of World Center kitchen staff. Israel's relentless bombardment show no mercy to people with disabilities who face immense challenges in seeking safety or accessing aid, while their indiscriminate attacks continue to maim thousands of civilians, creating a new generation of Palestinians who will live with permanent disabilities, often without access to proper medical care, rehabilitation services, or essential mobility devices. These actions constitute clear violations of international humanitarian law. The systematic obstruction of aid, the targeting of humanitarian workers, and the use of starvation as a weapon of war are war crimes. Those who continue to supply arms and support to Israel are complicit in these atrocities. Yet despite the challenges, despite the loss of our colleagues, despite the constant threats and obstacles, we remain committed to our mission. We have successfully delivered 3 aid convoys to Gaza, providing thousands of families with essential supplies. And we are currently working to restore healthcare facilities and water desalination plants. The struggle for Palestinian rights is a struggle for basic humanity, for basic human dignity and justice. Every food parcel delivered, every medical supply provided, and every child supported is an act of resistance against this systematic oppression. We call on the international community to take immediate action to ensure unimpeded access for humanitarian aid and to hold those responsible for these atrocities accountable. We will not be deterred. We'll continue our work guided by our commitment to humanity and justice. The people of Gaza deserve nothing less than our unwavering support in their fight for survival, dignity, and self-determination. Thank you.
Thank you. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! We have Amara from PSA. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! I hate that we have been here for the last year saying the same things. It's exhausting needing to explain to people why others shouldn't be murdered. But it's important work. And I hope that everyone that's sitting in this building behind me dreams of us and dreams of all the videos that we see of people being murdered, people being maimed, children being targeted, houses being deliberately destroyed. I hope it haunts them for the rest of their lives. And if it doesn't, I hope all of us make sure to remind them. No matter what you do, actually that's why I really have enjoyed this program today, and I must commend JOCOD for that. No matter what you do, what space you're in, whether you're a musician, an artist, a banker, it really doesn't matter. All of you have to be involved. We all have to work together to bring the Israeli apartheid regime to its knees where it belongs so we can bury it once and for all. As we stand here, we're standing outside the US consulate.
one of the most complicit buildings in South Africa from this genocide. Across the road is Discovery, now another complicit building. Currently sitting in a summit with representatives from the State of Israel, including the Israeli Health Ministry, which is complicit in the murder of Palestinians. They're busy having a nice conversation in Cape Town, discussing the future of health, but there is no future of health for Palestinians, and that's because of Israel. So we must continue our work in boycotting, divesting, and sanctioning, and that means holding everyone accountable that's complicit in this genocide. Keep boycotting Coke, which is also down the road. Keep pressuring your family to boycott. Pressure any investments that you might have to pull out of places like Discovery until they tell us we are against genocide. That's not a difficult sentence to say. The posters over here that say it could have been me, it would have been me if I was born in Palestine. And more so, it will be me if it's profitable for the US and for Israel. So we must never think that we are special for being born in a country as a born free especially. I can't think that I'm special for being born in a place where I get to live my life without the fear of being murdered by a terrorizing state. I have to be grateful for that, but I have to make sure everyone in the world gets that freedom. When we say amandla, we must mean aware to everyone. Power to all of the people, not power to genocidal states, not power to genocidal corporations, power to us, power to the Palestinians, power to the Lebanese, power to the resistance movements, power to everyone that's on the right side of history. So let's say it together, Amandla! Amandla!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Okay, now we have our vote of thanks. Mr. Baker?
It's been a hot day, and I really thank every one of you who's come over. I'd like to, in particular, name a few people. The Palestine Solidarity Committee, the PSA, right? Healthcare Workers for Palestine, particularly Nazim and where is Ismail? Ismail Mullah. When we asked for assistance on this project, without hesitation, he brought a team together. Roshan, Firoza, Firoza, thank you. Roshan, where are you? I'd like to thank you. And there is an individual from the Media Review Network, Farheen, who is there, Dr. Farheen, who's been exceptional. I'd like to thank our staff, the team here, Sajida, Asia, Nombula, who's not here, Vanessa, and the rest of the team, and also our people who worked, our beneficiaries at JOCOD. Thank you. Let's hear it for JOCOD. Yeah. Oh, okay. Roshan, who else? Oh, okay. And finally, our speakers. Thank you so much to the groups, PSA, etc. We've developed a partnership. Don't let this be the last. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Roshan, please, would you like to say something?
Amandla! Free, free Palestine! Viva JOCOD! Viva! Comrades, I think this has been a fantastic picket. And I really, really want to thank JOCOD and for coming together with all the Palestine solidarity groups and the South African BDS coalition. Because I think this shows what solidarity is. Because as we are fighting for the rights of people living with disabilities here, and for the space for people with disabilities to make their voices heard, we're standing together in solidarity with the people suffering from the most horrendous genocide. And we know and we've heard from people how that is affecting Palestinians in terms of the purposefully maiming, purposefully not only killing, but disabling Palestinians. And so really, I think this shows what solidarity can be. And we come here often and we always say, we will be back outside this consulate until the United States of America stops arming the genocide. Biden must stop before he leaves office. Make that his legacy. Stop sending arms. I mean, they literally send billions of dollars. Israel couldn't continue, especially opening the front against Lebanon, if it were not for the government sitting here in Sandton behind their shiny fences and shiny walls. And so we will be back. And we'll be back until we force them to stop being complicit, being a partner in genocide. But in case they think when we're not here, we are silent, I want to remind everyone that we still have a lot of work to do. We need to up the ante with our boycotts, our divestments, and push our government towards sanctions. We have to keep pressure on our government. We are still at least the third biggest seller of coal to fuel the genocide and the illegal occupation in Israel. South Africa is being looked at by the world for taking the case, the really bold and brave and laudable step of taking the case against Israel for genocide in the International Court of Justice. But then that court ruled that all third-party states, and not only states, talking of Discovery, as Amara mentioned, and many other companies like Glencore, the mining company that sells the coal to Israel, they will be held complicit. It's the governments, businesses, civil society, all of us. We have to make sure we're not complicit. And in terms of what we can do, we as consumers and the consumer boycott, I really urge everyone to download a new app. It's called Boycat. And it's great. It not only gives you the targeted boycott campaigns, the global campaigns, where we are all around the world trying to put pressure on companies like Hewlett-Packard. And I know we all have probably somehow a Hewlett-Packard printer or laptop at work or at home. So we need to keep the pressure up there. But on this app, you can also scan the barcodes of products in shops to check and then be an ethical shopper. It will tell you this is a level 2 connection to Israel. For instance, like Coca-Cola. Don't buy it. This is a level 3, less of a connection. But if you're an ethical shopper, don't buy it. It also gives alternative products. And if our products aren't there, you can upload new ones because it's not just made for South Africa. And it's called Boycat. And I really urge everyone to check it out and add products as well to improve it so everyone around the world can be sure that they know what they're buying, that they know that it's not connected to the state of Israel, and that we are not complicit. And finally, I want to say, we have to start moving towards full sanctions. We have to start pressing our government. There was a resolution in the General Assembly last month that made that states committed to ending the complicity in order to end the impunity of Israel in committing genocide. And so our next call, there's going to be a week of action raising up the issue, demanding that South Africa champion the cause of sanctions, because we know more than anyone else in the world the impact that sanctions had in helping us and our liberation struggle bring down apartheid here. And so we will continue to demand from our government that we do exactly what we ask the international community to do, that we do everything we can to isolate apartheid genocidal Israel, to force it to stop its impunity, to stop the genocide, to force the United States to stop arming the genocide, to stop voting against ceasefire motions, And so there's a lot of work to be done. The 29th of November is the International Day of Solidarity with the people of Palestine. Look out for protests. There's going to be one here against Amazon, which is part of the Palestinian BDS targets, but also because they are building their new incoming factories on our indigenous people's sacred land. There's also an amazing-looking concert coming up on the 1st of December at the Linda Auditorium here in Joburg. But JOCOD is one of the organisers, along with many the other JOCOD partners, South African Jews for a Free Palestine. And I've just been told there's going to be a puppet show. So that sounds very exciting, 2 p.m. And there'll be social media posts to get tickets for that. So we're not stopping, we're not quiet, and we want these genocidal maniacs in this consulate to know they mustn't think we're silent when we're not here. We're going to keep up the pressure. We won't get exhausted, however hard it is, because the people in Palestine are not exhausted. They are still resisting, even now, after over a year of genocide in Gaza and the escalation of genocidal war crimes in the West Bank. So as long as the people of Palestine resist, we are standing with them. Amandla!
Thank you, everyone. We've come. Oh, okay. Okay, before we finish off, just a last thank you from organizations I haven't mentioned. But for those of you who are thirsty, there's still lots of water here. Please help yourself.
Okay, we just want to thank the following: Media Review Network, Salam Media, Salam Foundation, Just School, Ahmed for the sound, MC Karbai, JMPD for keeping us safe, Tiba School, Nishtara, Nima Foundation, Albinism South Africa, Maliha School, Gift of the Givers, Jew Voice for Peace, BDS, Healthcare Workers for Palestine, and PSA. Thank you so much all for being here today.